Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We just got done talking about Thursday's leaderboard at Muirfield Village. Now we're off to talking about LIV Golf Houston. But before we get into that, I would love to remind you guys that if you would like to support this show in more ways than you guys already do just by viewing, if you would like to support the creators here at the GSMC Sports Network, use the link at the gsmcpodcast.net for tips and donations. That they do go a long way to support us creators here at the GSMC Sports Network. But without further ado, we're going to look at LIV Golf Houston, and pretty much all I have to go off of, because this isn't a PGA Tour event. The PGA does so well at giving me these in-depth breakdowns of the holes and of the golf course. Unfortunately for LIV Golf, I don't get those, so I get to see the yardages and basically nothing else and react to just the yardages. Going through the yardages, at least, we could kind of make an inference on who the course, what strength they play to. And for this one, it looks like it's going to be a long course, and it's going to be a Bryson DeChambeau type course. Of course, going into the U.S. Open next week, a lot of guys are going to be looking to set their game up as well as possible going into that. A lot of guys are very excited for the U.S. Open at Pinehurst in North Carolina. But for this one, a lot of guys are really working through some things in their swing. On the LIV Golf course, I know Brooks Koepka is definitely working through some things. I know Bryson DeChambeau has some things around the green he wants to clean up. But for these guys, they're going to use this tournament as a good way to kind of set themselves up for next weekend. And I think this golf course does very favorable for these guys, just based off the yardages. First off, first hole, par 4, 395, kind of shorter par 4 that leads into a probably a wedge or a soft 9-iron going into the flag. That could definitely be a hole. Of course, I don't know how the hole plays. I can't see it. It's probably a dog leg, left or right. So makes it a little bit more difficult than just a normal par 4 would be for these guys. So looks like birdie opportunities, though, right off the gate for 1, 2, and 3. Looks like these guys can kind of run up the score. Hopefully, you guys love seeing low scores in golf, and it looks like this course can lead to that. Then you go into a par 5, 565. That's a long par 5. You know whose specialty long par 5s are? Bryson DeChambeau. And then you got a par 4, 467, par 4, 460. Then you got your first par 3 of the day, or first par 3 of the course. You have 4 par 3s total on this course on 7, 9, 14, and 16, as 16s are usually that par 3. Going into that par 3, 7, 173. Par 5, 564, another pretty long par 5 that plays pretty similarly to what hole 4 would play as. A longer par 3, 238. That's a lot of these guys is probably 4-iron, 3-iron, or maybe a hybrid for these guys. 10, 382. Par 4, 11, 440, par 4, 12, 315. That's a drivable par 4 that a lot of guys are going to attack. Expect a lot of eagles on that 12th hole. It doesn't matter if you're a very great driver, even for that 315 mark. 315 is pretty short for these par 4s, so a lot of guys are going to look to capitalize on that unless it's a dogleg left and right. Once again, it's not from the PGA Tour, so I can't look in depth on the course. I can't see how the holes play and how the fairways are on these holes. But for the golf club, the Houston Golf Club, it looks like it's going to be long and it's going to be a little bit easy. And I expect one of the higher scoring events of the year on the LIV Golf Tour. Some guys that I'm looking at for this weekend for the LIV Golf Tour is, of course, Bryson DeChambeau. As I mentioned, this looks like a golf course that he can really run up the score. His crashers are in 5th place right now, so standing a little bit back of that lead, he can definitely help them out in the overall standings of the season. But other guys that I'm looking at here, Jon Rahm has been pretty bad all year. Besides on the LIV Tour, when he goes over to the PGA Tour for these majors, he hasn't played well. So hopefully for him, he can start working his game a little bit better here. This looks like he can definitely play very well. Of course, he's one of the best putters when he's on, and one of the best approach guys when he's on. So, looking to see if he can, capitalize on this golf event, as he is definitely. I mean, his team is second right now in the overall standings. So, hopefully that they can get above the. I believe it is Cam Smith's All-Australian team that's run 2 straight events. That's another big storyline going into LIV Golf Houston. Is Cam Smith's team going to be able to continue their winning ways, make it 3 in a row, as they did win the 2 abroad tournaments in Singapore and in Singapore and there. I forget the tournament before Singapore, but I know Cam Smith and his team played so well in that. And then, of course, Louis Bezuidenhout is another guy that I'm going to definitely – or Christian Bezuidenhout, sorry. I mixed up Louis Oosthuizen and Christian Bezuidenhout. Both of them are South African. One plays on the PGA Tour, one plays on the LIV Tour. But Christian Bezuidenhout, he's playing fantastic golf. So I'm definitely looking at him to continue his winning ways, as he's won individually so many times on the tour. So a lot of these guys have played very well on the LIV Tour, and then when they turn to the PGA Tour for these majors, for the U.S. Open, it looks a lot different, because the golf courses that they're playing on the LIV Tour are a little bit, of course, they're easier than the PGA Tour courses. So I can't wait to see how they play when they go to the U.S. Open in Pinehurst. Of course, they still play difficult courses throughout the year, but major courses are always different, and a lot of these guys that are lacking the experience on the PGA Tour because of being 2 or 3 years into this LIV Golf experiment. Now you're looking at they might be a little bit rusty when it comes to these more difficult courses. A lot of these guys are coming, or the PGA Tour guys are now coming off of a Muirfield Village weekend, one of the 5th hardest golf course on the PGA Tour, just because of how it plays. So I can't wait to see how that U.S. Open stacks out. Of course, Bryson DeChambeau is going to be one of the bigger names from his fantastic play at the PGA Championship. Ended up second, only 1 stroke back of Xander Schauffele, who eventually won it from a putt on 18. So we'll see if Bryson DeChambeau can continue his momentum. We'll see if these other teams, like Cam Smith's team, can make a 3rd straight win, or if it's going to be somebody new, one of these lower seeded teams. I know Dustin Johnson's team is around 10th right now, the 4 Aces team. So looking to see if they can turn around their season, because this is now the end of the halfway point of the season. There was a little bit of break between Singapore and now, so I'm excited to see how these guys play throughout the weekend. Looking forward to this one in Houston, but that'll be all for that. When we come back, we'll be talking about the history of the Memorial and the players that have played consistently well here at Muirfield Village in the past.